All right. Good morning, peeps. Welcome to Talking Paranormal with the Old Man. And as usual, I am the Old Man. More ways than one, buds. More ways than one. Starting to feel your age every damn day. Hope you are having a good weekend. Here in Michigan, it's not too bad. It's not snowing or anything, so that's always a plus. I did get a new Jeep though. Well, it's a 2006 Jeep. We got rid of our old truck. Had it for 20 years, and it was time to move on out. So we have a Jeep now, and hopefully it won't snow until I get a few things fixed on it. Update here in my office, I put in a new light. I had to get an adapter for it because it wouldn't fit in the box that we had. Then I put a dimmer switch on it so it will dim nice and pretty like. So that's what I did yesterday and this morning for like half an hour. Hard part was just turning off the power, then coming up here and getting that fixed and everything. So that's what I did yesterday. Plus we did a few errands and stuff. All right. So as promised, or oh here we go again. Last week I talked about the making of the DVD A Haunting on Hamilton Street. Told you about some of the stuff that we did. That was me moving some stuff. I apologize. And that was me again moving some stuff. I guess it picks up a lot of crap, huh? So there was too much to talk about last week. And I didn't want it to run into like a freaking 2 hour long podcast. So last week was talk about how it all got put together, how it you know everything came to be. Talked about the three investigations that we had done and the premiere at the Temple Theater. So there was a couple other things that happened that I'm going to talk about. I do have some ideas for upcoming podcast. A This upcoming weekend here will probably be about kids and seeing spirits that we can't see in animals, how they react. We have some experiences. Basically, every podcast I'm going to have some experiences with, whether or not I'm talking about previous investigations that we had done or stories, whatever. So it's going to be your paranormal related stories and all that kind of stuff. We do have a couple of things coming up, presentations in October that's already scheduled. So as we get closer, and if you're in the area, stop by. Our presentations are about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending. And then at the end we have Q&A. So we'll see how everything goes with that. So basically, this podcast, like I said, oh, then the third podcast out after today is going to be about we went to Europe in 2019 and we had some experiences over there. We had experience that we had in Great Britain at the hotel, at the graveyard in Paris, and then in the catacombs in Rome. So that's going to be an episode, but that's going to be after today, 2 weekends podcast. So mark it on your calendar and get ready to be like freaked out and stuff. Well, not really freaked out, but it's we did have some experiences over there. So getting back to a continuation, if you will, part two of last week's podcast. We did after we did well actually it was before the Temple Theater. Um, the rapper, and I let his name slip last week, but it is what it is. Who the hell cares, right? No one cares. The rapper, he decided to do some promotional um, stuff, I guess. And one of the things that he wanted to do was it's called the Hoyt Library, and it is in Saginaw. And look it up. It's a cool place. On the outside, it looks like a castle, but it is a library. And he said that we are going to do an investigation there, and we're going to have a radio station there, and it was going to be a promotion, a plug for the upcoming Temple Theater. So basically, like I said, he wanted to get as much publicity, and there's no such thing as bad publicity. So he wanted to get publicity, good or bad, at the Hoyt Library. So he brought it to us and said, "Hey, this is, and we were on board with that. Anything that he wanted to do, we were on board. I mean, it wasn't like we questioned anything or anything like that. So how he proposed it was we were going to do an investigation there, and we were going to have the radio station, and I don't remember the radio station, uh, in they were they're in town, and they were going to be there, and we were going to bring our equipment. They were going to tape it, and it was going to be included possibly if we got anything good in the actual DVD that was going to premiere at the Temple Theater. So we drove up there, and so from here, from our house, it's only about an hour and a half. Not a big not a big deal. Whoop de doo, right? So we drive up there. We had to park about a half a block away. So we had we have our equipment. We have like 6 or 7 cases of equipment plus other odds and ends. So we get up there and we set up our equipment in the actual building. But what he failed to tell us, and this would have been good to know before we freaking got there, what he failed to tell us was, yes, it was a promotional thing with the radio station, but what he failed to tell us was they had contest winners that was going to be there with us during the investigation. Like I said, to quote from the movie The Wedding Singer, that would have been nice to know that yesterday. So we set up our equipment, and there's a crap load of freaking people wandering around, wanting to see what we're doing, which is fine. Let me get this straight. We have no issues helping people that have an interest in the paranormal. Okay, we have no interest, helping people, if they want to, get started, learn the ropes, learn the business. We have done fundraisers in the past where we have had investigations where people had followed us on the investigation, and they're more than welcome to ask any questions that they want to ask. I'm not saying, okay, you can come to an investigation, but do not ask any questions. No, 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 no. If you have questions, we'll answer any questions that you have if we can answer them. Okay, so it's not a big deal. But the big deal at Hoyt was they were getting in the freaking way. And if you've ever done investigations, yourself, either individually or with a group, whatever, you know that the more you have, people are walking in front of the cameras. We had people stopped right in front of the freaking cameras, and we had a nice picture of their ass for freaking 20 minutes because they wouldn't freaking move. I don't like that. And I do remember, and I think this got back to the rapper, and that's why we weren't included in part 2 because I had asked him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, well, you will be part of part 2." But I think what happened was somebody pissed me off at the Hoyt investigation during this promotional thing, and they asked me what they could do, and I said, "Stay the hell out of the way." Hey, I'm honest, man. I am a straight shooter. I tell you how it is. And I told them, just stay the hell out of our way. We don't need help. So I think that somehow got back to Prozac. Oh, I did it again. Oh my God. I said his name. Oh, crap. I'm going to hear from his lawyers. Who the hell cares? Anyways, so I think it got back to him, and that's why we weren't in part 2. But you know what? That's okay. So we set up our equipment, and I remember one of the seekers. We were upstairs in the reading room. They actually have a reading room here, so this library is hoity-toity. If they have a reading room upstairs, and they had freaking desks, they had like the little lamps to light up the area. They had freaking a reading room. Okay, and I mean like a reading room by itself. There was not one book in that reading room. It was on the second floor, dedicated specifically for reading, and that was it. So you could grab a book downstairs, go upstairs to the reading room, and you could read. I mean, it was pretty cool. So we were up on the second floor in that aforementioned reading room, and one of the seekers was there recording with me, or recording what I was actually, picking up or, doing in the actual reading room. Well, and if I can, because supposedly this podcast, the host is Podbean, and I always say Podbeam, but it's Podbean, as in a bean. Supposedly, I have a website there, and I'm going to see if maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm going to see if I can find that website and things that I talk about. Like I talked about the picture of me being bitten at Trinway Place in Ohio. I have a picture of that. Uh, when I met uh, Brian Hanoi and Father Calder, I have pictures of that. I have pictures of this what I'm about ready to talk about. So I'll see if I can figure out where the hell that's at, and I'll put the link in the podcast announcement, whatever, so you can go and see what the hell I'm talking about. And then I'm not just making up stories and say, oh, he said there was a picture, but I don't see no picture. I will try to post the picture or pictures. So, anyways, so I'm up in the reading room, and I'm like, okay. And again, I mentioned that I am a medium. Psychic to me is the same damn thing. I unfortunately cannot predict the future. I cannot predict lottery numbers so I can, strike it rich. I can't do that. At least not yet. But anyways, I can do the spirit, talking to the spirit, communicating, finding out how it died and all that, for fun stuff. So we were up in the, like I said, in the reading room, and I'm picking up. I'm like, I'm getting a woman's name, and it started with an E, and I to this day I don't remember what her name was. I can find out for you. I'll post it. Um, it started with an E. That's like Eunice or something like that. Some old fashioned name, and I described her to the member of the Seeker who was recording me, and he goes, "Oh my God, dude, I know who you're talking about. Her picture is downstairs on the wall." So we went downstairs, and sure enough, that's who it was. The person that I described. He goes, "Which one in this picture did you see?" And I pointed directly to her, and he goes, "Oh my God, dude!" He freaked out. He's like, "Oh my God, dude! She was a former librarian here for like years. She retired and she passed away." And I'm like, "Well, she's still freaking here." And I do, like I said, if I can find a way to post a picture, somebody took a still picture of, and it might have been Brenda, took a still picture of me in the reading room, and I'm picking up this chick's name. The Seeker is, you can see him. He's beside me at an angle recording, and there's an orb that is moving. It's like a moving orb. It has the orb and a tail directly off of my left shoulder coming towards me. So, like I said, if I can find a way to post that, I will post it. I'm not for sure how. I'm new to this whole podcast thing, but supposedly I have a website that I can direct you guys to, and if I can find it, I will send you the link or put the link. I can't. I'm going to send you the link on the podcast. Dude, wake up, McFly, McFly. God, sometimes I can be stupid. So I will post the link in the announcement of the podcast. Hopefully, I can find a way to do that. So that was one of our experiences there, and the other experience was there. We were, I think, on the second floor still, and we were going from where the picture was taken with me and the member of the Seeker. If you went straight the way that I was facing, if I remember correctly, it led into like a little vestibule, I think it's called, area, and to our right was stairways that went down to the first floor, or a stairwell that went down to the first floor. And if you went straight ahead, there was a couple of like 4 or 5 steps that went into a small office. Well, if you went into that small office, there was a desk. As soon as you walked in, turned to the right, there was a small desk. To the right of the desk was a copier, and at the other end of the office, is when you walked up to the stairs and turned left, was a bookcase. But those stairs were the only ways in or out of this small little office. And I remember walking towards that way, and I saw I don't think it was, in my mind's eye. I think he was actually there. I saw a dude, and I can still remember. I saw him from his backside. I didn't see his front, but from what I saw from the back, was he had on blue jeans, brown shoes, and like a blazer. It was like a dark blue blazer, and he had like light brown colored hair, and he was going up the steps into the office. And I honestly thought, because there was a couple of DJs or a couple of people from the radio station that was there. So in my mind, I just assumed that it was one of them because they were there, obviously during the actual promotion, and they were there, walking around. And I honestly thought that it was one of the guys from the radio station. But then I followed him because I was going to ask him a question, and because he was about maybe 10, 15 feet in front of me. So when he was in front of me, he was already climbing the stairs as I was coming out of the reading room. So as he went up the stairs, like I said, I had a question, so I was just going to follow him up there. Well, when I got into the office, again, the stairs are the only ways in or out of the office. There wasn't anybody there. I was the only one in the office. And I'm like, okay. And again, doing what we do, I'm like, well, this was kind of odd. Not freaky. I wasn't scared or anything, but it was kind of odd. And I went downstairs and I found one of the dudes from the radio station. He had on just a t-shirt and pants, but it wasn't the color pants that I saw. So I asked him, I'm like, dude, because as I said in the introduction, whatever 9 podcasts ago, I call everybody dude. That's just how I roll. So I'm like, dude, is there anybody else here from the radio station? And he goes, well, there's me, and there was some girl. I think it was like Jennifer or something like that. He goes, we're the only two ones here. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I just saw somebody that I thought was from the radio station, but evidently it wasn't from the radio station. And I walked around, the building, and I did not see anybody that had on what I saw. So, did I see a spirit? I don't know. But all I know is he went up the stairs in front of me and he turned right into the office there, and I followed him not even like 10 seconds behind him. Man, there wasn't anybody there. And like I said, the staircase was the only way in or out of that small office. So I don't know. And then something else happened. It didn't happen to us, but it happened to one of the contest winners that we didn't know about. Supposedly in the basement, she saw a chair move. And I cannot corroborate this. I cannot confirm this. I cannot verify this. This is a third. This is what's called in the business a third party story. And like I said, I did not see it myself, but she came up and she showed the wrapper on her camera. Look what I got! Look what I got! But again, someone else could. And now that okay, I am, I guess, a skeptic to a point. Unless I see it with my own eyes, and I know people are gonna say, well, isn't that like hypocritical that you're doing good, you're a ghost hunter for all these years and you're a skeptic? No, I'm not a skeptic. If I see it with my own eyes, I was there, then I'm not a skeptic. Then totally 100% real, end of story. However, if someone else has it, shows it on camera, if I wasn't there to see it personally with my two own eyeballs, I'm a skeptic. Yes, because they could have staged that. Okay, they could have had a friend. Okay, um, go ahead and spin the chair a little bit and get the hell out of the way. I'm going to take a picture or I'm going to take a video. I will pan over just as you turn the chair, but make sure you're not in the picture. Okay, I can't say 100% that did not happen because I was not there. Okay, as long as I see it, 100% believe. If I wasn't there, I don't care if it's on video or it's a picture. because that stuff can be faked very easily. You know, they have all these apps now. It can be easily faked. So if I don't see it, I am 100% skeptic because they could have, you know, staged it. It could have been faked. Could have been edited, whatever the case might be. So that was our experience at the Hoyt Library. And the Hoyt Library, I mean, I mean, I would not mind going back and doing an investigation, just us, because it was a cool place. And maybe I can make contact again with the former librarian who passed away, and she's still there doing her library stuff, which is stupid because you should enjoy your afterlife. But that's just me. So that was one of the continuations that I wanted to talk about. The other one was supposedly, and I heard this after the fact, that they had an experience at the Schick Hotel, and that's where we had the object that was thrown at us, and that's where we got the just to recap. That's where I heard "I Want to Be Free" or something to that effect in the basement tunnel, and one of the seekers got that on his camera when he was recording us doing our investigation, and that's where the rapper supposedly seen the white mist in the kitchen, the the ball move in the antique room, and then somebody supposedly went across the top of the stairs, looking up the stairs, and that's when everyone in the audience gasped and goes, "Oh my God, that is so real!" So that's the location that I'm talking about. Well, one of the seekers, and I won't mention his name because this is kind of embarrassing kind of thing. I guess he felt like he was being possessed. And I totally believe in possession. I totally believe in exorcism. The movie The Exorcist was freaky deaky. It really was. Weird shit. Especially if you watch, and I'm not going to spoil it, but if you watch the I think it's the director's cut, I believe it is, where Reagan comes down the stairs like a freaking spider. It's like her back is contorted and she's like her head's looking at you as she's coming down the steps, like crawling down the steps like a spider, but her body's facing towards the ceiling. That is freaky. That is like, oh crap, man, holy crap, that's freaky. But that was in the director's cut, I believe it is called. So if you ever get a chance to see The Exorcist, watch the director's cut. Freaky as crap, man. Especially that one scene. So I believe in possession. I believe in exorcism. So, but again, though, you have to. That's why I'm not going to name any names other than who I let slip a couple times. But you're making a movie to sell. So I am not insinuating at any expense or any way that this was faked. I'm just going to leave it with you, the listener to my podcast, to make your own conclusion. I guess I was going to say theory, but I think conclusion. So I will let you, the listener to this podcast, come to your own conclusion on this. So I heard this, like I said, I was not privy to this episode, I guess, but I heard it from the rapper after the fact that one of the seekers, and again, remember it was the rapper and two people were these seekers, and I've met both of the seekers. They're cool guys, but like I said, this was a movie. They're trying to make money, so he supposedly got possessed at the Shook Hotel, where he felt like something followed him home. His demeanor was like, changing. His attitude was changing. He was not his jovial self. So Father Calder, just how convenient was Father Calder added to the first movie, and he had a opportunity to help one of the seekers who he thought was possessed. And from what I understand, it was Father Calder who said that he was possessed, not the seeker. But the seeker was experiencing stuff, kind of thing in the Shook Hotel. Almost like he felt like he was being spiritually and physically attacked. So, from my, like I said, I did not witness this personally firsthand, but from what I was told after the fact, was that Father Calder did like a prayer for him in front of him, blessed him, whatever. I'm not a religious man, so pardon me if I don't have the terminology correct. But from what I was told, he like blessed him, whatever. Well, I guess that escalated the situation, and the seeker, after a couple of days, said that he felt like something followed him home from the Shook Hotel, which is not hard to imagine. That place was kind of shady as hell, sketchy as hell too, for that matter. But you do the best you can. That's, everyone does the best they can, and that's all that we can ask. So Father Calder did another, I guess, stepped up attempt to rid the seeker of any, uh, it's cliche, but any evil spirits that might be attached to him. So I guess he did, and I guess eventually, the seeker, the member of the seeker here, he did feel better, I guess, and of course, Father Calder took full credit for that. But again, unfortunately, Father Calder has passed away from that movie. So rest in peace, Father Calder. I don't like to talk ill about people who have passed, but I'm not really talking ill about him. I'm just telling you, the story. And from my understanding, I don't know what happened, to be honest with you, to the two seekers after this. I know that the rapper. I almost said his name again. I almost let it slip. The rapper, he did do a Haunting on Hamilton Street Part Two, and then he did a couple of other ones. Haunting on Baker Street, I think it was, or a Haunting here, whatever, Pottersfield, whatever. So I don't know what happened to the Seekers after the first one. Um, I know that they were part of the first one. They did a lot of the editing and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not for sure exactly where it left off from there. So yeah, from my understanding, everyone's okay. The seeker that was felt like he brought something home, he was doing better from what I understand. But and I guess I'll just wrap this whole wrap up the haunting on Hamilton Street as an experience. It it something that I'm glad that we did. Would I have liked to be part of part two? No, of course. And I actually asked him, the rapper, did not let us slip that time, if we were going to be part of two. And he goes, "Oh yeah, sure, 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 sure." But then it turned into crickets. It's like one thing that I absolutely hate is if you're trying to just ask a simple freaking question, don't ignore people. Give them the courtesy of just saying, even if it's like no, just say no. We decided to go. That's fine. But after the first one aired, and it was about 3 or 4 months later, and I text the rapper, are you starting to, are we part of two? Crickets, didn't hear anything. I emailed the seekers. I had their email addresses. Crickets. And at that point, I wasn't even trying to, I was just saying, I just wanted, see how everything was going. If you've heard from the rapper, because I'm trying to, get a hold of him. And again, crickets. At least from the time that we did this, it was about 6 or 7 months constantly going up there to a Saginaw almost every weekend. Doing investigations until the wee hours of the mornings. At least give me the courtesy. And I didn't mean to turn this into a rant, but at least have the courtesy to respond. Say, hey, dude, screw off. Okay, thank you very much. I'll screw off. But crickets. And even when I'm on Facebook, the rapper, I'm like, hey, dude, I'm just, I don't want anything from you. I'm just seeing how everything is. How is everything going? How you doing? How the member of the Seeker that had that issue at the Shook Hotel. Crickets. So you move on, you know, and we did move on. So yeah, so that was basically, and again, like I said, I enjoyed the experience. It was a fun experience. Not everyone has that opportunity, and it was kind of cool to see yourself on a big screen at the Temple Theater. And like I said before, the TV show that we did, it added 20 pounds, 25 pounds to you. The camera does. The big screen adds like 30 pounds. It's like, oh my god, dude! It's like we watching ourselves on the big screen. It's like, holy shit. But anyways, it was a experience that I'm glad that we did. So that is, I'm going to wrap up, not this podcast, but I'm going to wrap up the whole haunting on Hamilton Street. This is going to be part two, and I will not talk about that anymore because I'm sure it's not that much fun. So I will not talk about it or reference that anymore. So yeah. Okay, so again, we are still looking at May for the public investigation over in Bath. And basically, we should have access to the park and the main graveyard in town. The graveyard in town is where not all the victims are buried at, but not even the majority of them are buried there, to be honest with you. Yeah, there are a few of the main characters, I guess, of this tragedy. The main person is in someplace else. He's in a marked grave, which I will talk about that later. So yeah, so we're looking at doing that, and then prior to the investigation, I will be at the park as usual with pictures, and I will give you, if you are unfamiliar with what happened, I will give a like a half. Excuse me, I got the hickey uppies. Excuse me. Okay. Um, I will give like a half hour, 45 minute, like a little talk before the investigation, so you know what took place here at that park. So, like I said, I'm going to send out a email to the Bath Police Department. This is what? This is the 23rd of March. Probably early May. Just because they don't allow more than one group there at one time. So I will make sure that I get our request in, and they have not turned us down ever again. They actually said that we are one of the groups that have not caused any trouble. We have not vandalized anything. And as soon as we do, whoever did it is gone. They're all of the group. I don't tolerate that crap. Um, you know, Defacing crap, putting up graffiti crap. No, I don't tolerate that. So that is coming. Like I said, it's gonna be May, probably the weekend before we go up to or down to New Mexico and Roswell for the UFO thing. And then I did find Billy the Kid's grave is in Fort Sumner, which is like a half an hour from Roswell, and it's on the way kind of to Santa Fe. So I'm going to stop at Billy the Kid's grave and take some pictures. And hell, I might even do a live podcast from there, depending on the weather and if I have any reception. We do have T-Mobile, so we probably won't. That's a whole different story all in itself. So I will sign off here, and again, as usual, until we meet again, stay away from the light. That's very important. Stay away from the light, and you know what light I'm talking about. And I will sign off by saying bye bye.